All right, let's see if this works today and doesn't freeze up on me. I had an update that took like 6 hours to do the update. I don't understand everything about computers. I understand very little about computers, but all right, so let's just let's walk through these. So problem number 1, is that showing up on the board behind me? Yeah. Good. I like when that happens. All right. Hey, this one's not squared. Agreed? Hey, Dan, you got something in your ear. So this is not squared, right? So we can just solve this just like normal. So those cancel. So 6x is equal to 36. So that's a nice, simple one, yes? But the confusing thing on that kind of problem on a quiz is you have the anxiety of already having like things squared. So you might see something like that and be like, oh my gosh, we have to like go and factor it and stuff like that. But in reality, it's a pretty simple problem. So kind of keep note, if it's just an x, or a couple of x's you have to combine together, that's fine. And then the next problem looks like this. So if we go and solve this one, what's the first thing we should do? Good job. You want to make sure it's equal to 0. So you're going to add 50 to both sides. And of course, 50 cannot be combined with the m squared or the 15m because it doesn't have a letter with it. Now, yesterday we talked about a quicker way to factor if out in front of this squared term is technically a 1, right? So yes, we could multiply the 50 times the 1 and do that, or we could say, oh, I know this is going to be m and m. Because I have a positive here and I have a negative here, I know both of these signs have to be negative. And the reason I know it's negative is because a negative times a negative would give me a positive, and a negative plus a negative would give me a negative. Agree? So, let's see. Can anyone think of two numbers that we could multiply together? 5 and 10. 5 and 10? 5 and 10? 5 and 10? Guys are getting good. Got 5 and 10. And remember, this is still equal to 0. So then we'll set up this, and we'll set up this. Add 5. Add 10. There's my answer. Pretty straightforward. So I think this way of factoring might save you a little bit of time. Sometimes it becomes a little bit more obvious to do. And it really only works when we have out in front of the squared term, if there's not a number sitting there, which technically means it's a 1. Can I move off this screen? Anybody stuck? All right, and then number 5. So first thing we definitely should do, subtract 3. Those cancel. So I get 2a squared minus a minus 3 equals 0. This one we can't necessarily do the quicker way. Why is that? Yeah, I have a 2. I have a number other than 1 in front of my squared term. So then from there, we're just going to say, okay, I'm going to multiply those together, and that's going to give me a negative 6. In order to get a negative number when multiplying two numbers together, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. Agree? Ooh. Positive 2 and negative 3. If I add those together, I get the negative 1 because there's technically a negative. That's a 1 right there, right? So then I'm going to bring this down to a squared. I'm going to bring down to minus 3. And then I'm going to put this in whatever order I want. Make sure the signs stay with what you assigned it to. I guess those should have been A's, not X's. Okay. And then we look at our first two terms. What can I factor out of those first two terms? 2a. And then I get a plus 1 because you have to have a placeholder. That has to come straight down. I could factor out a -3. Both these signs here change because I factored out a negative. B and these are both the same. And then the other parentheses, what's already outside, still equal to 0. So a plus 1 equals 0. And 2a minus 3 equals 0. So this is going to give me a equals -1. And 2a. Let's see, 2a equals +3. If we add 3, divide both sides by 2. So it looks like that. Everybody okay with that problem? Okay, and again, we're going back to factoring. And I explained that factoring is going to be seen in geometry and algebra 2 and whatever you take your senior year or your last year. Some of you just go up through, algebra 2, which is fine. Okay, happy about it? Can I move to the next one? So this one is 2x squared plus 2x minus 60 equals 0. Okay, before I factor it, what could I divide everything by? Yeah. Divide everything by 2, including the 0, which I know is redundant because you know it's got to be 0. All right, now this is set up like one of the ones that we just worked on. Okay, so I have x and x. In order to get a negative number, I have to have a positive and negative. Can anyone think what two numbers I could multiply together to give me -30, add together to give me +1? What do you got? 6 and 5? And which one should be negative? If the 6 was negative, that would be a -1. Okay, so I'm going to just flip-flop what you said. Okay, so we're going to do that. So all I have to do now is go +6 minus 5. It's equal to 0. Set each of these equal to 0. Subtract 6. Add 5. Okay. Sound good? Okay. Now, let me show you. I'm going to take you on an adventure here real quick. Let me open that up. Let me just show you how math is going to become your friend as soon as this loads up. Next. So this is the graphing calculator. Yes? So I'm going to clear this out. So do y'all want a pretty good retirement? Or do you want to be the person who's like, I can't take any trips. I gotta downsize my home. I have to live. I can show you a quick, easy way to become a millionaire. Sounds good. Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to go into the apps. I'm going to make this larger, take the whole screen. Into finance. It's called the TVM solver. Okay, so you are all going to start saving money at age 20. You still with me? We are going to save, starting for 20 years. I'm going to put every month money away. So I'm going to put every month, oops, take that back. 12 months. When you turn, let's see, from age 20 to age 65 is 45 years. So you're going to put 540 payments away. If you invest in something called a mutual fund, which is a stock market account, okay, those earn a lot of interest. Yes, the stock market goes up and down, but for the most part, the stock market over the past 70 years has grown at a very conservative amount of saying 7%. Okay, so we're starting with nothing, and I'm going to say, hey, we're going to start putting $300 a month in for 540 payments. Okay, is 300 a month a huge amount of money? Doesn't seem too bad, right? Yeah, I mean, but I think most jobs right now that you would get, I think you get to 300. Now, obviously, as you go in your life and you are working, you tend to make a little bit more money year to year to year. Yes, there are things that do take place, which means you might make a little bit less money, but $300 is not, I mean, you're talking 10 bucks a day. And I've seen some of your Starbucks habits. I think you can handle this $10 a day. Okay? Still with me? Okay. So I'm going to look at for some F/V as a future value. Actually, I'm going to go, it's going to compound every month. So the C or the price per year, our payments per year, there's 12, cost per year, same thing. So we're going to look at our future value. That is $1,137,788.40. Now let's go to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this value, I'm going to put it right here. $78.40. Okay, your money's still going to be sitting in this account. But what we want to do is we're going to sit there and see how much is this going to be worth from age 65 till you're 100. Okay, if you live to 100, you've had an incredible life. Okay, most people won't live to 100. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I know, yes, there are some people that do. But from 65 to 100, you're talking about 35 years. Agreed? So 35 years times 12, because there's 12 months in a year, you're going to get 420 payments until you're 100 off the money you just earned. Okay? I'm going to change my future value. I'm going to take this back down to 0. So that means I have this million. So now your money's going to start paying you back. So now you're going to get $7,268.77 a month from 65 to 100. Okay? So I just showed you how to be a millionaire, not doing the impossible. This is a thought process that does indeed take place. You know, right now you are all young. The biggest thing that is on your side right now is you're young. There are a tremendous amount of people out in society that say, you know what? When I turn 55, I'll start saving for my retirement. It doesn't, it's not a good financial plan. When you invest in yourself first, you take your finger and you point to you first. You are your biggest asset. You are worth investing in. Okay? So many people don't feel, oh, I'll start saving tomorrow. I'll start saving later. You know, a couple years from now I will. You know what? 20 years from now I'll start saving. You know what? If you can have just a little bit of financial literacy and say, you know what, I'm going to do this. But this kind of thought process is the thought process that math allows you to generate. Okay? Now, there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, that doesn't work. I'm telling you, it works. I've been saving for a long time. I've been saving since I was 18 years old. Okay, I'm 50. I plan on teaching another 15 years until I'm 65. The amount of money that I will have saved is basically going to say, you know what? Should I fly first class to where I want to go on vacation? Or should I go over to Centennial Airport and see about taking one of those fancy Lear jets that fly over our school every day to my vacation? My friends, this does work. You are your biggest asset. And if you choose to invest in you first, basically what you do with your paycheck is you deduct automatically out of your paycheck into an account. So when you get your paycheck, you don't have to think about, oh, I have to go put that money in. You go and you put it in, have it put in automatically. And I can assure you, my friends, if you put it in automatically, you're not going to forget to put something in. Okay? It's $1 million. It's over $1 million. Just imagine your retirement having roughly $7,300 every month that's given to you because you saved, because of you lived long. Question back there? So that's basically the overall trend it's been doing for 50 plus years. So what I tell my students in business calc is our company's greedy. Yeah, companies are in business to make money, yes? When you invest in mutual funds, a mutual fund that company is part of acts as a bank for that company so that company can borrow against that mutual fund and then say, okay, we're going to do this now. That's all it is. Okay? Yeah.
It's kind of a line of question. Why does it say negative $7,000?
That means they're paying you. That means the money's coming out of the account going to you.
But like there's no negative numbers up there, so why?
It's because it's because my FV is the future value. I want my future value to become 0. So that means here, I'm paying you out of the account. The nice thing is that $1 million is sitting there and you're still making the 7% on it. And so you take 7%, so you're taking out $7,300. Well, the money that's left is still earning the interest. And you take out the next month and the next month and the next month. You know. So if you just want to see where this goes, let's round it up to 7,300, make it easy. 7,300. Oops, 7,300, sorry. Times 12 means you're getting 87,600 from what you saved each year. Yeah.
What about inflation?
Right. What you invest right this very second, that dollar amount won't be as much as it's worth. So what's going to typically happen is this is a very generic way, because as I said, as you like work light in your job, let's say there is inflation. Well, your job's going to adjust your salary. So what you would do with your monthly payments is, let's say, what did I say originally? We're putting 250 in, 300 in a month. Thank you. You're not just going to start out with, you're not going to stay with always 300. So as inflation takes place, you're like, you know what, that 300 is going to turn to $320 a month. Oh, you know, now let's adjust it up to 380 a month. And because as you progress through your job, again, you're going to be making more and more money each time. And this doesn't account for that right this second. This is just saying, if you take a small amount and invest it, it becomes a big amount. If you take that small amount and you increase it each time, typically what you could do is you want to increase what you're putting in each month about 5% every year, and that should account for any type of inflation. And then that $1 million, when you do that kind of increase, it goes up to $2 or $3 million. Okay, and it becomes one of those things you start thinking about, what am I going to do appropriate? So I always want with 300, which is, let's say you're making $150,000 a year, $300 a month is nothing in that. So if you're making $150,000 a year, you might be putting $1,000 a month in. You might be putting $12,000 a year in, or more. So just something to think about. Okay. All right, let's go back to our notes. Let's go to the notes. It's the same package you were given a while back. If you don't have them, you can come grab a sheet of paper. Write down on that. Yeah. Oh, you never have to ask, my friend. Just go take care of yourself.
Mr. Smith, I did the homework. Well,
Okay.
not all of it.
Okay. Yeah. 15? Yeah. All right, this is number 15. That one, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move the 100x over by subtracting 100x. Those cancel, so I get x to the third minus 21x squared minus 100x equals 0. You have x in common. Okay, so this x is equal to 0 here. So there's one answer. And then I'm going to factor this. X and x. I need positive and negative. And so it's going to be a negative 25 and a positive 4. That would add up to be negative 21. So that's going to give me x plus 4 equals 0. So x equals negative 4. X minus 25 equals 100. Or, excuse me, equals 0. Add 25 to both sides. So this, and this are all your answers. Cool? All right. All right, so did you get some notes? Or if you get a sheet of paper from up here or your own, it's your choice. So I think you're going to rest a little easier today. This is not a difficult. I think yesterday kind of put some people a little shock value, like, oh no, he came back to that. Yeah, sorry. All right, so I'm just going to FOIL this out. So I get x times x is x squared. X times y is positive xy. Negative y times x is negative xy. And they cancel each other out. So that cancels that because they're like terms. So you wind up with this. Okay? This means I have two of these. So we're going to FOIL this. And these, the middle terms don't cancel each other out because I don't have alternating signs. But those are like terms, so I can add them together. Okay, so that's just normal FOILing. Agree? May I move forward, my friends? All right, so let's talk. This one I can do the x and the x. I know that both signs have to be positive because all my signs are positive. So what two numbers multiply together to give me 1, add together to give me 2? 1. Yeah, 1 and 1. So remember, because I have the exact same binomial twice, you can work it out and just give me one of the answers. Because these were the same, because those are the same, I don't have to show both answers. If you do show both answers, which are the same, you're not wrong. We're just dealing with what we have available. Yep. So I'm trying to save the lead or the ink. Yeah.
So if that were to be like negative, positive, like you would have to write x equals like positive 1 or negative 1. Do you do the plus or minus?
Yeah. I like that. So if you got an answer of x equals 1 and x equals negative 1, x equals plus or minus 1.
Can you do that?
Perfect. Okay. That's really cool. Good deal. All right, so this one we're going to do the same way. I can still do the x and the x because I have a 1x squared. I know that both signs have to be negative because in order to get a positive number here and a negative number here. They're the same sign. So negative 12 and negative 12. 12 times 12 is 144, agree? Negative 12 plus negative 12 is negative 24. I only have to list it once because I had the same binomial. Seem good? Cool. Can I move on? All right. Here we go. I have 9x squared minus 4. I'm missing the x term. Agreed? So rather than factoring this, can I add 4 to both sides? And then I get 9x squared equals 4. Is that okay? Can I do this? What do I have to do to both sides to get x? Root. We said yesterday, if you take the square root of both sides, do not forget this. What don't you forget?
Times 4 by both sides.
Nope.
Positive and negative.
Positive and negative. Square root 4. Square root 9. X equals plus or minus 2/3.
No, that's not right.
It's not right?
No, you only get 2/3. That would be 6/9.
I divided by 4. So you agree here?
9 would not be 2/3.
Square root of 4 and square root of 9. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 9 is 3.
Oh.
Is that right?
Yeah, I thought you just did it. My bad.
That's okay. All right, so I have this kind of put an asterisk here for a reason. Notice I have x and y in there. Agree? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this without having a y in there. Is that okay? So I'm just forgetting about the y for right now. Because sometimes when you have multiple letters in there, it kind of stinks. So let's do this. X and x. What factors of 9, positive 9, add to be negative 6? Negative 3 and negative 3? Okay. Remember we forgot about the y? Remember that? Remember that? I'm going to put the y right here. I'm going to put the y right here. So now I just factored something that might be a little ugly to do, and I just did it. All right, are these the same? So I get x minus 3y is equal to 0. Solve it for x. Add 3y to both sides. So I get x equals 3y. There's my answer. Bless you. So if you have x and y in the same thing, maybe drop the one of the letters out. Maybe drop the y out and go from there. Okay? Cool. Can I move on? All right. Ooh, this one. So I'm going to flip this over because I don't like having the y on the wrong side. I'm going to divide each side by 25. I'm going to do what to both sides? Square root. Don't forget the plus minus. Square root of 16.
4.
Square root of 25.
5.
Plus or minus 4/5. Done. Add 9 to both sides here. What do I do to both sides?
3
Root. Don't forget the
plus minus.
done. So if you root both sides, you have plus minus automatically. How are we doing?
Go back one.
There? Yep. Let me know when you're ready.
Are they gonna have
Yes,
Like, soon-ish?
in about 5 minutes. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I just wanted to create a little anxiety on a Friday. No, please.
Oh, it's Friday.
It is Friday. I think it's Tuesday or it's Wednesday. I can't remember what day. I'm sorry.
It's actually Monday.
It's Monday right now?
Yep.
Oh, dang it. We got all week to worry about this? You're good? All right, moving on. All right, let's see. I got that. Oh, cool. I have 2 left. All right. Hey, I don't have just an x term, so is it okay to add 18 to both sides?
Yep.
Is it okay to divide both sides by 8? 18 over 8, 2 goes into both. I wind up with 9 over 4 because 2 goes into both, yes? Because that would have been 9 times 2. Now it would have been 4 times 2, and I could reduce the 2's. X squared, root, don't forget the plus minus square root 9.
3 over 2.
And 3 over 2. There, it's done. Is plus minus 3 over 2 the same thing as x equals 3 over 2 and x equals negative 3 over 2? Yep. Yep. That's just the shorter way of writing it. Yeah, so if you go x equals 3 over 2 and x equals negative 3 over 2, same answer. Yeah, but this is just the shorter version to do. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We have this y. Okay, but I'm missing a few things. I'm gonna see. Let's see what happens. Can I do this? Can I do that? I'm just trying that right now. Let's see if this will work. And then can I do this? So those cancel. So I get x squared equals 9 over 36.
9 over 36.
What would 9 over 36 reduces to what?
3y.
1/2. What do you think? Yeah. It's y. It becomes y squared over 4. Ooh. I want to get x by itself. Root. If I root, don't forget the plus minus square root of y squared. Y square root of 4. Done. Yee-haw. Life is good. Yes,
I have a question.
talk to me.
Since the 36 and the 9y are both active square root,
Uh-huh.
can you use square root to get back there?
I can't take the square root of that whole quantity. You want to break it up. The only time you can take the square root of a whole quantity would be like, let's say you had x squared plus 4x plus 4. If you take the square root of it, you'd get x plus 2. Because that x squared plus 4x plus 4 is x plus 2. And that means you have 2 of them. But I'd say right now, just move it over if you can. But I think that's a great observation. All right, so my friends, you guys want a lot of homework tonight?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think you should give us any homework.
I feel like you should give us easy homework. That's like one problem, but different points.
I think you should let us enjoy them.
Enjoy your weekend?
For 50 points.
How about that? For 355,000 points. Sarah's going to hold me to it.
I will.
Okay. So, yeah, but you said it was.
No, 355%.
Hey, was that pretty cool? I showed you all how to become a millionaire. You didn't like that?
For
I-
billionaires.
Billionaire? You got to move over a zero with what you're
Yeah,
investing.
just add a few